Hello. Today we're going to be learning Likkutei Torah, daf chavav. We're finishing the mimer, k'tiv asher yechatu merivav, and then we're going to be beginning the next mimer, tevרכו. So the mimer, the part of the mimer that we're discussing, I'm at the bottom of page chaf-hey. V'yitin oiz l'malkai. The Alter explains what does it mean v'yitin oiz l'malkai, that he gives strength to the king. Oiz hu b'chenas gvuras, that the word oiz is a reference to gvura, and this is to the left side. Right, the gvura is the left. The gvura draws it's the severity, right? That restricts revelation, and in this case, it's the gvura of making sure that the gilui is only that of that it's the gilui of malchus of atzilus, which is a gilui for the sake of inspiring ahava, and the gvura component is meant to stop. That is meant to stop that revelation from going to chitzayim, from going to that which it shouldn't. And the Rabbi says that there are two ways that the left side can interact. The first one is the pasuk small tachas l'reishi, his left hand is under my head. That this is the experience that a Jew has of inspiration, where we love the Eibusher like a fire that elevates, that lifts up. And in this case, the entire inspiration is based on the goal of yichud, the goal of wanting to bond to God, and it's an inspiration that is like a fire that does not give place for anything else. It's a passionate focus on the Eibusher, that doesn't allow for any type of coldness. And the second version of this is the idea of small deich of yamin mekarevet, that the left hand pushes away and the right hand brings close. And this is the idea that through hishtalshelus, in the natural order, there is unikas achitzainim, right? There is a drawing down of that which towards that which shouldn't, and ultimately, in a sense, this is the product of an unmitigated left side, right? It's the small deicha when it's a pure small deicha. However, the Maimer Chazal is all about how the left side is the function of the left side requires the right side with it, and this is this is through the chesed of arach. That when chesed comes from arach and it affects gvura, then we have this v'yitin oiz l'malkai, which is al derech the small tachas l'reishi, and this is an inclusion of gevura in chesed, which allows there to be an even greater hashpah than before. And this is the ultimate version of chesed in gevura, is that the gevura impacts and influences the chesed to make it even greater than it was before. But the Alter Rabbi stresses that this idea of chesed of arach coming down into this world is not normal. It's not something that's natural, and it's also something that doesn't happen usually. It is solely to the greatest of tzaddikim that have the ability to draw down through their prayers a revelation of chesed of arach. And the Alter Rebbe brings the example of Moshe Rabbeinu. That Moshe Rabbeinu, after the Chet HaEgel, Moshe Rabbeinu davens to the Eibusher and has this conversation with God, and receives and uses the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachamim as a way of drawing down revelation. But so it takes a Moshe to be able to draw down into the world something like the Yud Gimel Mitzrayim, which are a translation of Gevura. It's Chesed bonded and united with Gevura, and this revelation is something that even the neshamas in the Gan Eden cannot experience, and it's only the tzaddikim, that the tzaddikim have the ability to draw this down. And the Maimer ends off by referencing the 9 brachas that we say on Rosh Hashanah in the Musaf Amida, and the Gemara, the Alter Rebbe quotes the Gemara that says, why is it that we say 9 brachas? It's a reference to the 9 times in the Tefillah of Hannah that she says the Eibusher's name, and the last mention of the Eibusher's Hashem Yadin Aksi Aretz, and that where Hannah is bringing this reference of din, right? That the Rosh Hashanah is Yom Adin, and Hannah is bringing din, bringing Gevura into the conversation. And so the Alter Rebbe explained that that based on a Zayar, that the main thing that stops us from successfully serving the Eibusher is prikasol, that when we remove the yoke of heaven, that when we make the decision not to serve the Eibusher, this leads to this causes the Malchus to not be revealed, and therefore we are referencing these 9 brachas on Rosh Hashanah. We're trying to rectify that issue, that the 9 times that we say the 9 brachas are each trying to bring the other 9 spheres into the sphere of Malchus, and this is the function of the tshuva, that we are trying to mitigate the gevuras that happen by drawing down chesed into them. And with this, we end. So the next Maimer begins on the bottom of Daf Chavav, on the bottom of the first column of Daf Chavav, and the Maimer is Kos Varchos Bnei Yisrael Amar Lahem Yirecha Hashem Yar Hashem Chulu Yisa Hashem. And the Alter Rebbe begins with a Maimer Chazal, with a Gemara that says the Malachim confront the Eibusher. They say that you say in your Torah that you should not show favor to somebody who offers a bribe, and yet you show favor to the Jewish people, as it says, Yisa Hashem Panavilah, right? That the Eibusher will show favor to you. So says the Eibusher turns back and he says, what choice do I have? How can I not favor the Jews that I said in my Torah, Vaachalt ושבעת, that you will eat and you will be satisfied, and you will then give me a bracha, right? Bench me. But the Jewish people are makbid on themselves and have taken upon themselves that the definition of the savata is a kazayas. So and that the Jewish people bench after eating only a kazayas, which presumably is not necessarily the savata, that we reach the state of satisfaction, and yet we have taken upon ourselves to define satisfaction that way. And so the Eibusher responds to the Malachim and says that the Jewish people have done this thing for me of going beyond the letter of the law, so of course I am willing to show favor to them. So the Alter Rebbe begins with his questions. Question number 1 is that what is the connection between us taking on a chumrah and receiving divine favor? And we also have to understand what the significance of the brachas is in this Yivarechecha, right? What is the sequence, and how do we understand it? So he says to understand this, we first need to understand the whole idea of benching and why satisfaction is required, right? What is the significance that because I feel satisfied, therefore I bench? So to understand that, we first need to tackle the idea of a bracha b'chlal. That when we say berachta, we say baruch ata. And the idea of ata, the word ata, is the letters aleph and taf, which is the beginning and the end of the Hebrew alphabet, and the hey, and which is the Abishur, that you are bringing God into the alphabet. So we know that the Abishur used letters as the means of making creation. That we know that there's the Asar Maimaris, that through the Asar Maimaris, the life comes into being, and not only does it come into being, but it also receives its consistent vitality through the letters and through the combinations of letters and substitutions of letters. And we also know that the soul of man is full of letters, as it says, that the Abishur blew into us a spirit of life, and this spirit which gives life to which gives life and sustains everything is built upon these Asias, and these are the Asias of the Asar Meimaris. And we also find that Adam is told to name all the animals. This is one of Adam's jobs, and that when he, this is al pi chassidus, it's explained that when Adam gave names to the animals, he was actually giving them the ability to have the vitality of creation drawn down into them, and he provided them with the conduit through naming them. Now, what happens when Adam does that? What is the conduit that he built? That he allows the behemoth down here to connect to its original spiritual source. And the reason being that Adam represents, or Adam is, the highest of all living beings, and so Adam has the ability to help each of the lower physical beings make that connection with their source. And therefore, based on this, we see a link between the human action and the vitality and the spiritual revelation that the rest of creation receives. And we can now begin to understand the idea of the word of God that is found in food. That food was of course made by these same isias, by these same letters, and these letters are vivifying and providing this food the ability to exist. And the reason for the food coming into existence is in order to give life to man, in order to give sustenance to man, and when man eats the food, he returns that food back to its source, and he reunites that food with its source in the bringing from the divisions of species and the divisions of food and the variety is based on substitutions of the Asar Meimaris, is based on division of the Asar Meimaris. And when man eats the food, he's bringing it back to that one reality of the Achdus Hashem. And this is the special ability of man. So when we say a bracha, we are drawing down into that food the original source, right? So in other words, to sum up, the food was made through Asar Meimaris, but when it was made, it subdivided, it scattered, and it manifested itself in billions and billions of different varieties, which are a diminution of the original vitality that it was supposed to receive. When we say Ata Hashem, we're reaching to the source of the Eitzia, so to speak, and we are reuniting the food with where it came from originally. Now, what allows man to do this the man's ability to positively affect food is predicated upon his own ability to battle with his nefesh bahamas, because the word lechem is from the idea of milchama, right? The idea of war, as we say that it says in Zohar that we need to eat with a sword. We have to eat on the edge of a sword. That through and what is our battle? What is our war? This is of course tefillah. This is davening. As it says, that we begin by loving the Eibishter. Right? We begin by we have to, right, that it says in Krishma, that it starts with la'avas Hashem leikechem b'chol ulavde b'chol vavchem, and then only afterwards is the seva asaf zikanecha, that we only get to eat once we have achieved for ourselves a love of God. And so the manner in which we are capable of positively affecting food is if we begin ourselves from the perspective of tefillah. Now, what is ahava? What is this love that is demanded of us? So ahava is malashon ava, which means want or desire, right? Which is the will. And what is the will of man? So the natural inborn will of a Jew is for gilui elokus. That the innate desire of every Jew is that the world and that the universe revert back to its original state, to the state that it was before creation happened, because we our neshamas are painfully aware of the fact that creation is a hell and behester over the elokus that made it, and we are fueled by this desire to go back to that state, right? So that despite the fact that aniha violation easy, that the Eibishter has of course been unaffected by creation, we live in a reality where we cannot see that, where we live in this hell and behester, so we are fueled by this we're fueled by this love, this will, this desire, that we come back to the leishanisi in a way that is evident within creation, that we yearn for and we strive for this future, or this reality in which there is no hell and behester. And so therefore we daven, and davening is a ladder. That davening starts with birchas hashachar, which are v'keich ibrim zekei kufuvim. But these are brachas, and each bracha is baruch ata Hashem. We are trying to draw down we're trying to bring a hamshacha of elokus. We're trying to bring it down into our neshamas. Ata, right? When you say ata refers to somebody who is present. So what we are trying to do with starting from the very beginning is mention the parts of our daily lives, like things that are imminently relatable, and then we mention that ata Hashem, that you, the God who is present right now, I want to be involved in these parts of my life. And there has to be an order. There has to be a ala seder, and it has to start mimata l'mayla. That you start with these lowest levels, starting with birchas hashachar, all the way to ve'ahavta, which ve'ahavta is the idea of actual practical mesiras nefesh, ve'ahavta b'chol v'vecha, that which means reaching the original source of the nefesh elokis, as it was, right, as it is in its source, which the neshama in its source has this innate desire to be united with God. So we're working through our tefillah through this ladder in order that we may reach the height to our neshama, which has this innate desire to be totally connected to God. In other words, mesiras nefesh. Now, to stress, the neshama itself, the nefesh elokis, has no conflict. The nefesh elokis doesn't have this struggle. The nefesh elokis has the innate desire in and of itself. However, given that the nefesh elokis is trapped in this body along with the nefesh Bahamas, with the nefesh Yunus, we're given our vitality, we're given our life from this by living in this reality. Therefore, the neshama's struggle becomes a struggle of fighting against the nefesh bahamis, of iskapia, and then subsequently sidra, until we reach with these two hearts, right? With both, from both perspectives, is the ultimate goal, and not just the nefesh elokis, but also the nefesh bahamis should both have the ability to serve God, and that's why we start our tefillah from the bottom of the ladder, because we're trying to bring with us the nefesh bahamis, and this is accomplished through the malachim that are going up and down, because man is the source of everything, right? Man is the pinnacle of creation, in that man is made up of all four, right? The four faces of God's throne, and man is made up of all four, and the goal is, and the entire focus of creation is upon on lifting up the nefesh of man, to be able to realize that, and to be able to place man at this highest pinnacle of creation. And then only after that, only when man reaches his highest potential through the ba'ahavta, the whole of Avecha, then it comes to v'asafta zinganecha, right? Then we're able to gather wheat. In other words, we're able to go back down into creation and begin to gather the daim sameach and chai, and engage them and use them for the sake of the Eibishter. And this is why eating before davening is asur, because before davening we are before davening we are still bound up down here. So how is it that we're supposed to, while we're still bound down here, to engage in the mata and positively affect it? We're within the mata. We can't do anything about it, and therefore we're halachically obligated to first raise ourselves out of this gross physical reality, and only then can we positively affect the physical reality. And furthermore, the Alter Rebbe says that that neshamas Yisrael are alu b'machshava, that the Jewish soul comes from a source that is actually higher than speech. That daim sameach and chai, which come from speech, as we said before, that everything, all parts of creation come from the Sar Meimaras. The only thing that can raise daimim sameach and chai up to its source is neshamas Yisrael. The neshamas Yisrael come from machshava, come from divine thought, and the key to all of this is that before the neshama attempts to engage with the gross physical matter, the neshama first has to combat and to battle with itself, to be able to become fully realized, to be able to assert itself as this machshava being, and only then can it positively affect the creation, the lower parts of creation. Now, our ability to positively affect change is based on the fact that a person will give all of his time and all of his energy to the thing that he the thing about which he cares the most. And this is the idea of the v'rechat, that when we that our ability to raise up the nitzitas around us, right? Our ability to eat food and to drink water, to drink beverages, and to positively affect them by bringing out the divine sparks that made them, is directly correlated with our own level of ahava, and to understand that we produce through our davening. And to understand that, we have to we can look at the analogy of a seed, that the seed grows as part of the plant and will continue growing until somebody takes that seed and puts it into the ground. And through tremendous hatzlacha and through bracha, this will cause a fruit to rise up out of the ground, a fruit to blossom, and the one seed can now produce far more than the original fruit that was planted into the ground. And in the exact same way, this is in the analogy, we are the fruit. We are the plant that God has planted. It says as today's Israel that I have planted the Jewish people, and I planted them in the earth, because what is this planting? So this is the idea of Baruch Hashem Likkutei Torah, that we were drawn down into this world, and we were put in Nefesh Bahamas. We were buried like the seed that is completely covered in the dirt, in the soil that is our physical desires. And in order for us to grow, we need this bracha, we need this success, we need this prayer, which is the Yivrecha Hashem, that the Eibishter provides us with the ability to tackle our Nefesh Bahamas. So the Yivrecha provides us with the ability to engage in that battle that culminates in the Ve'ahavta, that then allows us to positively interact with the rest of the world. It says, like all Yisrael, that the purpose of the Jewish people going into exile was to add converts, and it's explained in Kabbalah and Sudas that that the reason that we are in exile is in order to extract from exile all the positive things. So as we've traveled through history, collecting converts, what we've been collecting is the sparks that are among the nations, whether it be in the practical sense of the neshamas, or in the more metaphorical sense of extracting the netzitzos hakadusha for the sparks of holiness from creation, that we do by interacting with all manner of physical of life that is on this earth, and of physical matters that is on this earth. And this begins with our tefillah, and this is why we have to daven every day. That we need to bring this bracha into us, and this is why continuing with the pasuk Hashem v'yishmerecha. What is the guarding that we need? This is the shmira against yinikas achitzonim, against the klipa, which would theoretically try to access this ahava that we have, right? This love that we have, and that we are protected from this, and we are kept pure and we're kept clean through this yivarecha that allows us to engage in the physical reality without having any without being negatively affected. Now, through this esus lasata, there is there's a response. There's an esus leila, and this is the ya'era havaya panavela, that God will turn his face to us, that He is turning to this place that just like one would turn toward that which one desires, so too there is this gilei elokus that comes from our aveda, that when we draw down that gilei elokus, the yeravaya panam, that we are drawing the Eibishter down. What is the divine response? So we know that our panim is a reference to chachma, that the chachma is adam tayar panav, that there's this direct link between the idea of looking at somebody and the idea of chachma, and chachma is this gilui of kayach ma, a revelation of the reality of Einaid Movadai, a revelation of the reality in which there is nothing but God. As we say that the Ezu Chacham Areyas Anelad, right? That who is a chachma, who is wise? Somebody who sees the future, but the seeing is the idea of being absolutely aware at the highest level of cognition that there's nothing but God. That through our which is the Shema Yisrael. So Shema is hearing; it's not seeing. It's all about our own limited understanding, but which we know Ein Daim Shmi L'Riyah. We are then given the response of Ye'er Havai upon Avelecha, that the Eibishter turns back to us with his Chachma, which is him allowing us to see the reality that we've been that we've only been intellectually understanding before that. And this happens through Torah, because that the Torah is the Eibishter's Chachma, that the Torah is meluvish in Zavarim Gashmim, in physical things, and this is the water. This is the Eibishter gives us. It says that we say in davening, that we say in Kriya Shema, that the water that the Eibishter gives is his chachma that he gives to us through Torah, which allows us to have a perception of him which is not just our own intellectual understanding. That the beginning of the pasuk provided us, Yevrecha provided us, but it is a far more concrete understanding, and that happens through our learning of Torah. And then we have this V'yichuneka, that the V'yichuneka is Melashon Chen and Melashon Chania, V'yichan Sham Yisrael. So it's the idea of beauty, and it's the idea of settling, of camping, which is a reference to the fact that the Eibishter dwells among us, the dir b'tachtonim. That the final response of the V'yichuneka is that the Eibishter says, and ultimately this process is going to actually bring to a dir b'tachtonim, and this is why we have birchas hamazon. That when we bench, we are drawing down Agila Lukos. That when we are providing the link between Eibishter and world through the medium of our neshamas, and this is why we have these four the four brachas of benching, the three midaraisa and the one midarabanan. That the four times that we're saying Baruch Ata Hashem, we are bringing God down into the world, and it's again Ata with this present component, that God is actually present in the world. That through this we are making each component of the world practically and realistically a home for God.